Uh-oh, that one's my mistake. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Sí, okay, bien. I'm sorry, I had that's on me. That's on me. Tengo la culpa. Tengo la culpa. It's my fault. Tengo la culpa. Tengo la culpa y lo siento mucho. I am so sorry. I hit a wrong button. Perdón. Les pido perdón. I ask your forgiveness. You're going to get 2 recordings put up. Ay, ay, ay. Okay.
No importa.
Ah, sí. Pero sí, a mí me importa. Pero gracias, sí. Okay, vale. Lo siento mucho. We're going to wait and let everybody get back in. Let's see. Okay. Ay, lo siento otra vez. Okay. Bueno, a ver. Let's take a look at this. Let me turn on all my sound and you can hear what he's going to do. He's going to ask somebody to try to get them out of this purgatory, to break things down into more manageable phrases. So I'm going to show you what he does with this. I'll see if slowing that down helps a little bit.
Español es quedarte bloqueado. El motivo
Sometimes you get blocked up. Your brain gets blocked up when you're speaking. That's what he's going to
que
talk
suele
about.
pasar esto es que estás intentando decir una frase
You're trying to say a sentence
mucho más difícil del nivel al que sueles practicar.
You're trying to say a sentence that is at a much more difficult level, nivel is level, than you're used to practicing. And what that's going to mean is you have to break it down into some chunks that are more manageable. Okay, so many times we feel blocked, bloqueado, because we'd be used to stringing something together in English that's longish. And our brain is struggling with how to break that down into something more manageable that we can actually say in Spanish. So he's going to show some examples of that, and then we're going to practice this. Y aquí viene Jan. Here comes Jan. Lo siento, Jan.
No es un problema de habilidad, sino de falta de práctica.
It's not really a problem of ability, but rather practice. Well, I don't know if I agree with them totally on that, but yeah, because it is difficult to string these together.
Por eso,
we'll see.
Lo que vamos a hacer en este vídeo va a ser practicar un ejercicio para que tener conversaciones en español sea un poco más relajado.
So we're going to try to slow some things down or break them up into smaller bits to make them more relaxing.
Pero
okay.
Hoy ha venido conmigo Cassidy, que viene de Estados Unidos, pero también vive en Barcelona.
Sí.
¿Cómo
okay,
estás?
So this is an American who is living in Barcelona.
Cassidy.
Bien, ¿y tú?
Yo genial. Aquí encantado de estar en tu barrio, porque tú vives
I'm
por
delighted
aquí,
to
¿no?
be in your neighborhood because you live here, around
Bueno,
here.
lo que vamos a hacer hoy es utilizar un diálogo, las frases de un diálogo.
We're going to use
Y
some
vamos a ir
dialogue
frase
phrases.
a frase, yendo de un nivel más difícil
Going from
a un
a
nivel
harder level
más fácil. O sea, vamos
to an easier level. So he's going to break it apart.
a simplificar frases. Tú
We're gonna
también
simplify
haz lo mismo.
sentences.
No se puede salir del purgatorio del nivel intermedio sin practicar.
talking about getting
o sea,
out of that
consumir
purgatory.
no es suficiente. Y sin prisas, tómate todo el tiempo que
Without
quieras.
rushing.
Tú le puedes dar a pausa.
You can
Y
hit a
vamos
pause
frase
button.
a frase, ¿vale?
Vale.
Venga. Con cada frase vamos a hacer 4 cosas.
We're going to do 4
La
things.
primera cosa es leerla en voz alta.
First thing we're going to do is to read. This is going to be a typical response to a typical question. So the first step that he breaks it down to is read the response off aloud. En voz alta es aloud, out loud.
Ok.
La segunda cosa es extraer estructuras.
The second is to extract a structure, take out a structure. That is what we're going to do today. Okay. We're going to pick out some structures to practice in a manageable bite, if that makes sense. Bien? Okay. Vale.
Trocitos que te parezcan
Little
interesantes.
pieces that
La tercera es simplificarla.
third thing is we're going to simplify that.
Y luego la cuarta vamos a intentar decirla de memoria.
And we're going to try to say it from memory. Now that part, I'm not going to emphasize so much, but we are going to dig out some structures from this, simplify them, and then like use them in a different context. So you see how to take it out of that one context, but use it in a slightly different way so that you can get used to that structure and reuse it, saying something slightly different. Sí, entienden? Okay. He's going to show you
Vale.
one of the structures.
Vamos con la primera.
Let's go
Hola
with the first one.
Cassidy,
Hola.
me han dicho que ya has encontrado piso.
Sí,
Ah, they tell me that you have found an apartment. Que ya has encontrado piso, that you have found an apartment.
la verdad es que he tenido
Okay, so here is what she is going to, I'll take this off so you can read. This is the read aloud part. La verdad es que he tenido muchísima suerte porque la mayoría de los que fui a visitar eran carísimos. Let's hear her read it. This is a long sentence. Okay. We're going to see how we're going to see how he takes that sentence and breaks it down.
tenido muchísima suerte porque la mayoría de los que fui a visitar eran carísimos.
And you'll see how even her reading it was a lot of effort for her. Okay?
¿Vale? Esta es la
Vale.
primera frase.
Vale.
La verdad es que he tenido muchísima suerte porque la mayoría de los que fui a visitar eran carísimos.
So now he said that much faster. Okay? But he's going to break it down now to show how you can use
¿Qué
this.
estructuras ves que podrías utilizar en otras frases? Me
So-
refiero a
Here is taking out a structure part. And this is the important part we're going to work a little bit.
cosas como, por ejemplo, la verdad es que X, ¿no? La verdad es que sí, la verdad es que no, la verdad es que he tenido suerte, la verdad es que hace calor. Es
Ok.
como una estructura,
Sí.
patrones.
So this is a pattern. Patrón means pattern.
Es muy común.
Es muy común.
Yeah, la
Es muy común. This is a common structure. We're going to take a look at this little pattern, which is a chunk or something we're going to use to simplify a much longer phrase. La verdad es que, la verdad es que, la verdad es que, la verdad es que. Okay, la verdad es que en inglés es
The truth is,
the truth is.
the
Um,
reality is,
Sí, eso es, sí. La verdad es que this is a typical thing that people will lead off with in a conversation. It's a very typical chunk. La verdad es que. La verdad es que. And here he connected this chunk to he tenido muchísima suerte. Truth is, I was really lucky. Or you might say in English, as a matter of fact, I was really lucky. Or to be honest, I was really lucky. Or to tell you the truth, I was very lucky. These are all little chunk type things, but it's something that people will typically use in Spanish. This thing of la verdad es que, the truth is that. But we may sub something else in with English instead of specifically the truth is that. We might say to tell the truth, or the fact as a matter of fact. And that is the same kind of idea as la verdad es que. Okay, so let's take a look at just that la verdad es que bit. Oh, perdón. La verdad es que. Okay, vale. And I meant to pop this into the first slide, so I'm going to restructure this once you get it in the email. La verdad es que And this is going to be followed by another idea that might be shorter and easier to express. Okay. Un ejemplo. La verdad es que mi esposo y yo debemos de buscar un carro nuevo. My husband and I ought to look for a new car. We're going to connect this la verdad es que with some newer ideas, with some variations. Okay. Instead of tengo suerte, la verdad es que tengo suerte con el piso. Truth is that I am lucky getting in an apartment with other ideas. La verdad es que mi esposo y yo debemos de buscar un carro nuevo. And let me simplify that down even a little bit more. La verdad es que mi esposo y yo buscamos un carro nuevo. So la verdad es que is going to introduce like a new idea or an explanation that you're going to tell somebody. Okay, let's see if we can create some different things to say using the same thing of la verdad es que, la verdad es que. And notice those should all run together. La verdad es que. La verdad es que, perdón. La verdad es que mi esposo y yo buscamos un carro nuevo. What else could we connect? Something totally different to this. And it could be presente, it could be pretérito.
La verdad es que español es más fácil cuando estudio.
Ah, sí. La verdad es que el español, perdón. Booted me out of my keyboard. El español es más fácil cuando estudio. Perfecto, Trish. Muy bien. So this is actually a pretty long sentence. La verdad es que el español es más fácil cuando estudio. Look at how long that is. But if you break it down and just learn that chunk of la verdad es que, truth is, yeah, you can connect a longer idea to it. But it's easier to connect that second half, which is a short little sentence, when you just memorize the la verdad es que part. Okay, hay otra idea. Some other idea connected to la verdad es que.
La verdad es que tengo mucho hambre después de hablar sobre comida.
Ah, la verdad es que sí, tengo mucha hambre. Después de hablar de la comida. Es así. Exacto. Sí. Bien hecho. Well done. Vale, otra idea con la verdad es que. Truth is, la verdad es que. Oh, you're on mute. I can see your. We'll give you a moment to. Okay. Bien. Otro ejemplo aquí. La verdad es que la verdad es que mi esposo tiene muchas alergias. Bien. La verdad es que. La verdad es que is a lead off. It's something somebody will start off when they're giving an explanation of some kind.
La
Like
verdad es que es muy difícil I can't think of it, the weight.
Lose?
Sí,
Oh, perder peso, losing weight?
sí.
La verdad es que sí, es muy difícil, Uy. Perder peso. Sí.
Perder peso.
Ah,
Gracias.
sí, sí, sí. O bajar de peso igual. Bajar de peso o perder peso. Sí, eso, sí, bien. Okay, pero entienden, you understand. You can say something somewhat more complicated if you break it down, but you almost have to memorize this first chunk of la verdad es que, la verdad es que. This is a very natural lead-in phrase. Do you have to use it? No, claro que no. You don't have to use it. But these are things that we do in English with slightly different words all the time. Okay, vale. And here the lead off in English would be something like as well, to tell the truth or as a matter of fact or something like that, right? But this would be a very common lead in that people use a lot. La verdad es que. Okay. Bien. We're going to take a look at another chunk and practice some other little chunks. I need to get my chunks a little better lined up here. Oop. Okay. Aquí vamos. Here we go.
La
Sí.
verdad es que
Entonces, ¿qué otras estructuras ves en la frase?
la mayoría de
La mayoría de...
So there's another structure. Actually, I need to, I forgot he plopped that one. La mayoría de. La mayoría de means most of. Most of. La mayoría de. See? La mayoría de is another chunk, and it just means most of. And that's something we use quite a lot. La mayoría de. La mayoría de los que fui a visitar eran carísimos. Most of the ones that I went to look at, and she phrased it, or he phrased it as the ones I went to visit, meaning how apartment hunting, right? La mayoría de, most of the ones. Okay. Vamos a ver. Let's take that apart. That la mayoría de. La mayoría de. We can practice in other ways. We can. Vamos a ver. Vamos a practicar aquí. La mayoría de. And we're going to take this down to a smaller chunk than he did. La mayoría de. Most of. La mayoría de, la mayoría de mis amigos tienen piscina. Most of my friends have a pool. La mayoría de mis amigos tienen, sí, tiene piscina, perdón. Sí. Bueno, ok. Otro ejemplo de la mayoría de, most of anything, and connect it to a longer idea. O, por ejemplo, la mayoría de mis vecinos sí, usa, la mayoría usa, the majority uses, por eso es usa. La mayoría de mis vecinos usa dos carros. Most of my neighbors use 2 cars. ¿Sí?
La mayoría de los días en Arizona son soleados. Soleados.
Soleados, eso sí. La mayoría de los días en Arizona son soleados. Most days are sunny. Eso sí, la mayoría de los días en Arizona son soleados. Are sunny ones. Okay. Perfecto, perfecto. Hay otra idea aquí.
La mayoría de mis vecinos viven en Arizona todo el año.
Buena idea, sí. La mayoría de mis amigos vive en Arizona todo el año. Sí, que no viajan entre el norte y Arizona. Bien, perfecto, perfecto. Hay otra idea con la mayoría de. Oh, no, adelante. Shall we take a look at another chunk? ¿Sí? Otro. Okay. Vale. Let me make sure I get to the right spot before we plug that in.
Pisos is apartments.
Sí,
Instead of floor,
sí.
floor is apartment.
Hay varios términos. Hay varios términos para apartment y depende de la región. Es buena pregunta. En España, la palabra favorita es piso. Piso es floor of a building también, ¿ya? Pero piso es apartment. En México se usa departamento o apartamento. Depende. Depends on which part of Mexico you're in or Latin America. Departamento, apartamento both mean apartment. And everybody understands those various terms. They know people will use various terms. So, right, the word for apartment that they use is different. Okay, here, otro chunk. Here is another chunk I want us to practice today. And this might be the last one. Okay, pueden ver, pues, momento. Trying to get to the right. Okay, aquí. I want you to hear her saying this. And she's doing this first step of just reading this off the paper. Oh, momento. I'm trying to get to the right. It's not quite here yet.
You're no longer screen sharing with us.
Oh,
Right.
it's not on?
No.
Okay.
Lo siento.
Only
We're the only ones that are on.
Otra
Now
vez. Okay.
Yeah.
Sí, ahora. Sí, pueden ver. You can see it.
Sí.
Okay.
Recién pintando. Lo que
Pintado.
más
And now it's going to start with lo que.
pintado. Okay. Lo que más me gusta es que tiene un balconcito donde cabe una mesa y un par de sillas, así que puedo desayunar fuera todos los días.
So now you see how it was kind of painful for her to read this whole thing. And the reason I want to show you this is like to show for a person who is living there right now, even though she can get by on a pretty basic level, this was painful for her to do. So we're going to break it down. We're going to take a look at this segment of lo que más me gusta, lo que más me gusta, lo que más me gusta. We're going to look at that. Okay. Lo que más me gusta es que tiene un balconcito donde cabe una mesa y un par de sillas, así que puedo desayunar fuera todos los días. Now that's easier for me to say, but really hard for her. Here's what that sentence is saying to give you the idea that it is a really common thing to say. What I like best is that it has, she's talking about the apartment, is that it has a little balcony where just a table and a couple of chairs fit so that I can have breakfast outside every day. Now that's a big mouthful, but what we're going to take a look at is this first chunk, lo que más me gusta.
Si alguien te pregunta ¿qué tal el piso? ¿Tú responderías con una frase como esta?
No.
Would you ever respond with a
Es
sentence?
demasiado
like this?
difícil.
She goes, no.
¿No?
That's too hard.
Pero-
Más difícil que mi nivel.
Exacto.
My
Pero
level, this is hard.
lo que sí puedes hacer es entender por qué es tan difícil.
You can understand why it's
sí.
difficult.
Entonces vamos a dividirla, como en la frase anterior,
We're gonna
vamos
divide
a extraer las estructuras
Okay.
y luego las simplificamos.
Okay.
Entonces, ¿qué estructuras ves?
What
Lo
structure
que
do you see?
más, what more. Sí, puedo entender, pero normalmente no lo uso.
I can understand it, but I can't use it, she says. Lo que más. She knows what it means, but she can't use it.
No lo
Lo que
usas.
más, no lo uso.
Claro.
Yeah. Lo que más.
Por ejemplo, para decir what I like best,
Yeah.
¿no?
To say what I like best. Now, how common is it for us to say what I like best? Pretty common. So we're going to take the lo que más me gusta part out of that and put that into practice here. Lo que más me gusta. And we're going to see what other things you might plug in besides the gusta part. Lo que más, what most I like. We would say what I like most or what I like best. Okay, so in English, this would come out as what I like best or what I like most. Lo que más me gusta, and you might do different things. Lo que más me gusta, I'm going to take this out a little bit to make it even easier. Lo que más me gusta es el espacio en mi cocina. What I like best, meaning talking about my house or my living space. Lo que más me gusta es el espacio en mi cocina. So what you're trying to do is to make this chunk always flow so that you don't have to think about it. It just comes out. Lo que más me gusta. Lo que más me gusta es el espacio en mi cocina. ¿Ok? Lo que más me gusta es que hay 4 habitaciones. What I like best is that it's got, meaning my house, tiene 4 habitaciones. It has 4 bedrooms. Lo que más me gusta es que mi esposo tiene oficina. Su propia oficina. What I like best is that my husband's got his own office. Es que mi esposo tiene su propia oficina. He's got his own office, apart from the rest of the house. Bien? Okay. Is there any idea you can use to talk about your car or your house or anything else to talk about what you like best? Lo que más me gusta. Bien.
Lo que más me gusta es el clima fresco en la mañana, en las mañanas.
Es el clima fresco así por las mañanas, in the mornings.
Por las mañanas. Is it por las mañanas?
Por la mañana, in the morning. Sí, sí,
Okay.
muy,
Por
sí,
la
por la mañana. Eso sí, muy típico. This is a really typical thing you would say to somebody. Sí, lo que más me gusta es la frescura de la mañana o el clima fresco por la mañana. Sí, exacto. Ok, otra idea con lo que más me gusta. Sí, dinos.
Lo que más me gusta, mi carro nuevo es híbrido.
Es híbrido.
Sí, híbrido.
Y tienes que usar menos gasolina cada semana. Oh, sí, exacto. Lo que más me gusta de, so now let's take a look at another little chunk you might say. And now she's switching from the, from house to, Trish switched to weather. And now we're switching to talking about a car. And if you want to say about my car, to be specific, okay. Lo que más me gusta de, letra grande, de mi carro, de mi nuevo carro, es que es híbrido. Es que es híbrido. Is that it's a hybrid. Es que es híbrido. Es modelo híbrido. Okay. And from there, you can connect on other little ideas, but you want to, maybe connect them in separate sentences for now. See? Usa menos gasolina. No tengo que comprar mucha gasolina. Así, like that. Bueno, excelente. Hay otra idea. Lo que más me gusta, lo que más me gusta. So if you want to say about my car, about my new car, it's de mi nuevo carro. If I want to talk about my house, it would be lo que más me gusta de mi casa. If I want to be specific, right? Okay. Algo más, something different to seg in there.
Lo que más me gusta es cuando mi casa es limpia.
Cuando mi casa está limpia.
Está limpia.
Sí. Lo que más me gusta es cuando mi casa está limpia. What I like best is when my house is clean. Sí, ahorita mi casa no está limpia. Sí, pero entiendo el sentimiento, ¿sí? Hay gran sentimiento. Estoy muy contenta cuando mi espacio personal está limpia. Eso sí. Excelente. Otra idea con lo que más me gusta, lo que más me gusta. ¿O no? ¿No? ¿Nada? Okay, vale. Here is what I am going to plug in for you for the coming week. We're going to take this little structure of lo que más me gusta, and we're going to just pluck out one little word, but the lo que más me is going to stay the same. But we're going to plug in a little different word than gusta. So what I want you to think about and come to class with next time is plugging in, instead of lo que más me gusta, plug in the word frustra. Frustrates me. What bugs me the most. Yeah, what frustrates me the most. Instead of lo que más me gusta, lo que más me frustra. Y yo les doy un ejemplo. Lo que más me frustra de mi pueblo es la gente que no apoya a las escuelas. What frustrates me most about my town is people who don't support the schools. For example, it can be an easier idea than that. See? Lo que más me frustra. So instead of having that gusta in there, we can plug in a slightly different idea, but we can still use the lo que más me part. Yeah, and they're all going to flow in together. So I want you to plug in a different idea with frustra instead of gusta. I want you to plug in a different idea of anima. Anima es como, and I'll write these in, frustra, frustrating. Anima, cheer up. See? Anima is cheer up. Get your spirits up, see? Lo que más me anima por la mañana es una taza de café en el patio. What cheers me up most in the morning is a cup of coffee on the patio. See? So instead of gusta, we might plug in a slightly different word. What cheers me up? What perks me up? ¿Sí? Así. Oh, por ejemplo, si quitamos la palabra gusta, if we take out the gusta and plug in interesa, it conveys a different idea, but you still use that chunk of words, lo que más me. Lo que más me interesa. Lo que más me interesa. What interests me the most. And my idea here is just to start off. De mi trabajo es, por ejemplo, lo que más me interesa de mi trabajo es buscar nuevas ideas en español. Lo que más me interesa de mi trabajo es buscar nuevas ideas en español. ¿Bien?
Sí.
Okay. But you can plug in different. So I want you to plug in a different idea with gusta, plugging that instead. You will not see that in the video if you choose to watch the video, but para que sepan, so you know, the lo que más me will always stay the same. We're just plugging in a little different verb to talk about a different feeling. Yeah. What I like best, what I get annoyed with the most, what cheers me up the most, what interests me the most. Okay. So this little chunk of the lo que más me prevents you from having to try to like finagle in a bunch of words to say, what is the most interesting thing to me? If you just get that lo que más me chunk down, we can plug in some different feeling ideas to talk about those things. I think I'm going to take one more chunk, but I have to look in the video for which is going to be the next one I'll have. And I'll have a listening video just for fun. Just for fun, see, for listening, nada más, just for listening. That I will send along with your email for the week. Okay, todo bien.
Sí.
So you'll have a couple of chunks to try to plug in. I'll organize that video a little bit better because it's de cuántos minutos es? Yeah, that's an 18-minute video, and that's going to be super long. I'm going to have you do just a segment of that video to see some of those chunks that we'll use next. Okay, vale. Bueno, if there are other topics you want to do, is por ampara a big frustration for you guys as well, that you would like to work a little bit this fall? Sí o no? Sí, por
Could
y
we go
para.
over one more time? Maybe it will get in my head.
Una vez más. Por y para is also a topic that una vez más, once more, is it just, that es muy normal. It is really, really normal. Por y para, we don't have that dichotomy of those two kinds of words, or well, we do, but we use all kinds of different words instead of that. And that's why it's hard for us. We don't have a similar structure that we can relate to it. So we'll plug in a little bit of that. And I think the lo, la, le, and all those, yeah, that's always something that people want to practice more again. And we'll maybe take some of these chunks with these again to practice those ideas of por and para and those little pesky pronouns during fall session, to plug those in with ideas. Okay, vale. Sí, todo bien. All good?
Sí.
Todo bien? Todo bien. Fantástico. I think the video I'm going to send you off with is a Katrina Dia de Muertos video, because it's kind of interesting. And the last thing I'm going to leave you off with, they often talk about La Catrina. So I'm going to tell you ahead of time. The video is about La Catrina, and it talks about why La Catrina came to be. La Catrina is the female figure, that's the skeleton figure with the huge hat. And it's usually got like these plumes of feathers all over the place. And why is La Catrina a thing? And I guess I always relate, actually, I never really thought deeply about this before. The word Catherine, which is the masculine form, the feminine form is Catrina, is a person with some wealth. A well-off person is a Catherine. So the term Catrina means a well-off person, but why would you make a well-off person into a skeleton figure? That's what the little video is going to talk about. So it's kind of a fun video to have connected to Dia de Muertos, because people often hear the term Catrina, and they know it's a skeleton lady. But how did that come to be is what the video is about. So it's kind of a fun seasonal thing. See? ¿Todo bien? All good?
Sí.
Es una historia. It's a story video thing. It's a history video thing. Okay. Vale. Eso es todo para hoy. That's it for today. And we'll have you work on some of those chunks to use in a normal person sentence for the coming week. Bien?
Sí.
Okay. Fantástico. Nos vemos. And feel free to send me ideas you want to work on between now and end of December for sure. See?
Sí.
Eso.